All right. Oh, thanks. That's even better. Well, welcome everyone to the early November 1st, couldn't be earlier, meeting of the Community Board 2 Parks and Waterfront Committee. Is that everybody? Is everybody that we can see on there? My name is Rich Cacapolo. I am the chair of this committee. It's a great honor. Shirley found that funny. I don't know why she laughed. Let me go around the room as we start, as we do. We can introduce ourselves. Let me start with my co-vice chair.
I'm Susanna Aaron, vice chair of the committee.
I'm Ann Hager, one of the members of the committee.
Right.
I'm Rita Chatry, board member and a member of the committee.
Sorry, that was messed up.
And I'm Shirley Secunda, and also a board member of the committee.
Okay. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Eva Mai,
There she is.
CB2 staff.
All right. And we had one, you might as well.
My name is Yuna Choi. I'm a guest tonight on.
Thank you. And is there anyone, can you see if there's anyone else on other than Daniel? Let's see over the side there, my eyes. There he
You got
is.
Matt, you got Sharon.
I apologize for being on Zoom.
That's okay, Matt.
So do we have a quorum?
Please introduce yourself.
Matt Metzger, also an honor to be here.
Yes, thank you. And Sharon was on the phone. Is she on there? Can you say hi, Sharon?
Hi, Sharon Willems.
Yes, she says hi, Sharon. That's fine. She is a public member, a long time. Thank you for joining us today.
Do we have a quorum, just FYI?
I don't
We're
know.
5 members,
We have 13 in our group now because we have Julian and
5.
right?
And then are Matt and Daniel, are they like the disability excuse? I may mention this.
I am definitely not, but, and if you need me for quorum, I can run down there for 15
Yeah,
seconds.
I'm ill, so I didn't want to get anybody sick.
Yeah,
So I think he would count.
Daniel counts. He went.
I
to
could
the
come, I could cycle over to make quorum. I texted Rich.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
sure.
did, and Mark, too, you did it the right way. Daniel went to the Jets-Giants football game in the rain, which is not penance for anyone. I was there too, miserable and cold. Okay, anybody else on there that's, anybody else on the participants list? Let's go down. Oh, Darlene's here, I see. Who else? Who else is there? I haven't heard that in a long time.
We have
Who else?
Roy Ruiz.
All right. Oh, good, okay. All right, I'm struggling to see that before. I don't want to
And
change it.
you see Pete Davies is on too.
Oh, yeah, Pete's good. I was wondering if Pete wasn't here, I'd be worried that he's, something happened to him, because he's a reliable attendee.
Yes, he's here.
And Sharon, okay, but nobody, no other board, anybody in the, that we should promote, anybody else in the other side, like Carter or anybody like that?
Rich, do you need me for quorum? Just out of
I
curiosity.
think so. 1, 2, 3. No, we're fine. I think we're okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
We didn't start our meeting without a quorum last week. So.
Yeah, okay, we're fine.
Definitely 6.
Well, yeah, good. We're good.
6 Janice.
Frederica was gonna call in from Italy, but I don't see her on there. Okay, so welcome to the meeting. It's November. I did all that. We have one. We really have 3 topics, but we have one special guest to do said topics. Please introduce yourself.
I am regional manager for parks. My name is Therese Flores, and I am part of CB2, but also CB1, CB6, CB8, and CB3. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
Special.
And it's always great to have you, and thanks for joining, and I always forget that you're regional manager. Yes, that was, I didn't want to get your title wrong. So we spoke during the month, as we often do, and there were 3 things that we wanted to talk about, and they are going to be an update on the project Passanante. I've heard a lot of very exciting. Then there's a discussion about the DeSalvio Playground you asked to cover.
Yes.
And then this was one that was, was carried over from last month, which was a discussion or review of dog park and dog run locations and policies. So why don't I just turn it over to you? I can and let you go through in whatever order if there's a.
Great.
Start with the good news.
There's not much more to say about Passanante. It's open. as of yesterday.
Yeah.
The paint's dry. It had to dry in the rain, but it's dry and it looks great. And it was full of kids having a blast today. So, any questions I'd love to
Yeah.
field, let me know if there's anything going on.
Well, let's
that
start
I
off. We
can-
had some, we know, there were some questions, and so let's just recover this, not resurface. This was a project that started in August, September?
Oh, April.
No, when was it closed?
Oh, so not design. So
Yeah.
we started in August, yeah.
Yeah, it was closed in August. There was great consternation because of the school, and then everybody who uses it. And I think that, and this wasn't just surface, it wasn't just painting it. It was, we had to fundamentally do the cement underneath because of the cracks, right?
Right, and full
Yeah.
full depth replacement, so it took quite a while, and you have to let it cure, you gotta leave it time so that then you can put the lines on, and it looks great now.
Yeah, and I think
No,
it
but I
was,
feel like it's a speed record for Parks Department.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good record.
This is the
mean-
best way that I've ever seen a project come to fruition.
We
It
often talk
started and
about the
ended in 3
longest
months.
ones. This
Yeah,
was a
that's
very
amazing.
fast one, and so, thanks to you and credit to, everyone. It's especially,
Steve Simon.
Steve Simon, who is
Powerful.
the powerful man in New York.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
We've all known that.
Holding the strings, he's the puppet master.
You knew it all the time, right?
So, how many, here's the big question, and this is gonna start the conversation. How many, in the end, pickleball courts were lined on there?
There's 5
There are 5.
courts.
Yes,
So
5.
there's 4 along one edge and 1 ghost court, which
Yeah.
means it can be anything, it can turn into anything.
There he is.
So Teresa, can you
Yeah.
explain how that works?
Well, we'll find out how it works, I
Oh.
think.
Oh,
Let's
it's
see.
not I thought it was an operation already.
It's operating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see how it
Yeah.
continues. So hopefully it works for everybody. We've tried to accommodate everybody in that design. There's a lot of different multi-purpose uses.
Exactly.
It's a large open area, which, the kids need and everybody needs for
Exactly.
hockey, basketball,
Right,
Skateboarding, I
right,
think,
right.
skateboarding.
skateboarding, so hopefully it's.
Is there signage that says stay in your place or something
No.
like that?
but is there any permitting? Is it
Yeah.
a permitted
Permitting?
space? And then thanks for coming.
I believe there's one permit, that I'm not sure if it got renewed, but I'll find out. It's, I think it's one morning of the week.
So the school doesn't have a permit? The school that uses it?
Not necessarily unless they're using it for an event, so they come if they need fire drills, they're there and it's a space that, like everybody. Come and use it.
But doesn't Little Red rely on it for their, outdoor
They
space?
do.
And they do
And
that
there's
without a
not-
permit?
There's not a permit for every day.
Got
There's
it.
something that, every time something comes up and they need it, if they need it for a permit for an event or a larger gathering.
But otherwise, they just show up and use it ad hoc, ad hoc.
And do they do that every day? Do they
Yeah, I've
use-
seen them there every
Yeah,
day.
and usually the same hours then, I guess.
It can vary, because even during summer it changes, because they have, summer programs, so.
Oh, right.
There's
the
a
summer's
sign.
beautiful. But I mean the school year, right? They would have the same hours. right?
I forget what the sign says.
I remember
think it-
sundown, right?
What does it say?
Doesn't it usually say till sundown almost? I
I
don't
think
know.
it's be nice. Like, I don't know, there was something on there, it's not,
But it's like share the space, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We hope that everybody can share the space and that they can work together and
Now, there
be
was.
reasonable.
Yeah. So 4
Then
and
we don't
5
need some more
courts.
signs, right?
Yeah, what happens if, their 5 courts are filled and someone brings their net and their chalk? Are we allowing them to?
No,
chalk out?
people should not chalk down their own lines or paint their own lines.
Okay.
Or designated spaces for a reason. You have to designate the right amount of space for each sport so that you're not running into each other, that you're not in a dangerous situation, overcrowding. Being, perpendicular to another court, maybe you shouldn't be parallel too close. It's just, it's,
All
It's
right,
difficult.
that's what, it took a
That's why I
designer
thought it was
to
working.
lay out the lines appropriately, so it's the same.
sign.
But there's nobody there to oversee it and say, no, you shouldn't go over this
Right.
line.
Right.
So rely on people being neighborly and respectful,
Right,
sharing the space. Good
fairness.
luck with that.
Daniel,
I'm sorry.
Daniel, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I don't seem to have the ability to raise my hand in the Zoom, but it does seem like an issue, pickleball being so popular and, people in their 20s wanting to find courts. Are they gonna be waiting in line like they do at Hudson River Park for the tennis, or Is there a sign-in sheet? Because people have asked me, my daughter's that age, they all play pickleball. They want to know, can I go there and when can I play? So it's going to be neighborly, but there should be some kind of a system in place, I think.
Well, isn't there, do people put, I'm not an expert, but I think there is, it's like when you play pool in a bar.
Mhm.
Or you put down your, I don't know, your quarter or your stick or something, and you say, I have next game or something like that. And I know at Stuyvesant they do this, and people know they rotate off, I think, whether winners stay or the both leave, I forget the rules, but these things sort of develop, right?
I guess like a pickup game
Yeah,
of basketball
yeah.
in any place other than West Third
Yeah,
Street.
we don't.
Is there any way to replicate what happens at the tennis courts in Hudson River Park?
Yeah, because that took some time to do, and it evolved to a point where it works like clockwork, where there's like benches that are numbered
Yeah.
and people move down and there's a time limit and it allows
Yeah, so
everybody
it's
to
a
get
real
their time.
organization.
It really works well too. Like I know I've talked to tennis players who previously there were issues, people took too long or got confused about who was there first. Numbered benches, I mean, it works well. I don't know whether there's a possibility to do that.
Well, a
Sounds
permitting
reasonable.
system takes somebody to oversee it.
And
This is
enforce
just a
it.
sign-in sheet, there's nobody at Hudson River Park.
Yeah,
But
There's no one
because
there.
they have.
they just have
assigned
numbers on them, they
numbers.
have them, they have a signage that says the amount of time that you have to play, and then they have numbered benches, and so people sit
Oh, so
and they
there's no
move
sign-in
down.
sheet.
It's not a sign-in sheet, there's like bench 1 through 5 or whatever it is, and people move down as people move off, so that they know the order.
I wonder, since it's brand new, if it makes sense to let it live and see what happens, and then if problems arise, you know, then see what the problem is and try to address it then.
Okay.
I
Anybody,
think
There's no-
everybody
there's
is
no
adapting.
plan B right now, right?
Everybody's adapting. There's quite a demand, and we have what we have for space, and there's needs in all areas. So we're doing our best. As things come up, we have a plan, we do what we can.
all right, well, before we move on, can, we look at the, I guess I can do it. I wanna look at the comments, which are in the, yeah, see if anybody, there were some comments here.
I know that.
Uh,
Chat?
Here's that, the chat.
It's over on the right.
So I'm just-
Yeah,
I'll look at the chat, or the chat's down there, I'm trying to see the chats, show chat previews, okay. Can anybody read it, any highlights here?
Yeah, it's just Sterling.
There's no questions.
No, but what's all this here?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the
see if
caption.
anybody-
Those are
What's that?
questions.
Your caption.
Oh, good.
That's the transcript.
It did seem insightfully brilliant, yes, all right, so I will just see, all right, that's it. I was thinking they were commenting about the numbered benches and playing right along, all right. So that's good, but thank you for that, and let's hope it's good, let's hope nobody runs into each other and,
Or paints any lines.
and paint
'cause it
any
looks
lines.
gorgeous.
Yeah, yes, hockey may be the one permit, you're gonna check, right?
Yes,
Okay,
that is another permit that is actually there, I do
Yeah.
remember now. And
Saturday
they
morning.
were trying to be there this weekend, but it was raining.
yeah, oh, Sunday, there's Sundays or something, sorry.
I did for Saturdays. But thank you for a beautiful
Yeah.
space and for doing it in a really timely
So
manner.
efficiently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Design.
really very nice.
That's the wide.
And I think all the
Amazing.
conversations on design beforehand must have really helped my
So now,
process.
you were saying that in JJ Walker, right? That the kids are intimidated.
Well, they're just
Yeah.
told they have to leave,
Oh.
the pickleballers tell them they have to leave.
Of course.
Because their court's painted. So if kids are there first and they're playing handball, they're asked to leave. And so I was just curious about whether there were rules about that, whether, since it's painted down, whether there was a rule that anybody who's playing tennis or playing handball has to leave. But not quite sure about that, I guess.
And the tennis court's the same thing, you said.
Well, it was tennis, it used to be that people would hit tennis balls against the wall, or kids would play handball. But now there are 2 pickleball courts that take up all 6 of the spaces that used to be there.
Usually the designated sport has priority, and I have not heard that the handball is not allowed there. So it's something that has just been brought to our attention, I feel, and it's something that's just become an issue. So Let me look into it and see
Okay.
if there's something that can be reasonably done. I mean, the kids should be able to play pickleball too,
Yeah,
right?
but they
So-
also should be able to play handball. and tennis.
Yeah, I wonder whether the other option is, we talked about when we were making the budget priority list, one of the things was redoing the JJ Walker, like pass through and playground.
Yeah.
Maybe there's another space that a wall could be put in, so that it didn't,
Conflict.
conflict, so that there's two separate places.
Yeah, I think that I
Long-term.
walk in, unless, I mean, the only other thing there is the bocce thing.
But there is that playground, if it could definitely be re-envisioned in a different way, the wall that goes in, there's like a smaller playground, I mean, I think there's a potential to use that wall as well. That's next to the pool, there's a little bit of an extension that goes into the playground, maybe you could use that, I don't know, like, there might be a way to re-envision it.
Okay,
Yeah, so
That might be a
that's
long-term plan.
Yes, it's not
something
short term,
to
I know.
consider.
okay.
That sounds.
And then Carl was saying that,
It happens at
It's at
Vesuvio.
Vesuvio.
Yeah, she said that, you're right.
no, but she's not here, is she?
She's excused.
I'm sorry.
She
No,
said the
it's-
same thing happens on a nice day at Vesuvio
Yeah.
playground. And I've seen it, people come and set up courts there instead of, where people hit tennis balls against the wall or the basketball, they set up courts there.
Mhm.
And the kids are intimidated.
So we need to. Where is this? at?
Yeah, Vesuvio.
At Vesuvio.
I think Vesuvio and JJ Walker both.
And this is,
Yeah.
I think this is coming up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when kids are
Yes.
getting out of school, there's a
Yeah.
conflict in use. And now that Passanante's open, I hope that
Yeah.
reduces that pressure.
Yeah,
So, let me look into it and ask for park enforcement to
yeah,
help get the word out
Yeah.
about what things are. Outreach always works best. you know,
yeah, and who's the, I mean,
Well, so
this,
we have there's a pickleball ambassador, right? So like there's
Yeah.
someone you can talk to on
that's
like
what I
the
was about to say.
skateboarding.
Yeah,
Like, I wonder if there's like a way to negotiate it so that one of the pickleball courts at JJ Walker's always pickleball, and the other one maybe in that 3 to 5 hours. School kids could use that section for 3 handball courts, and then you could have both going at the same time, and there's lots more pickleball courts now
Yeah,
at Passanante.
but the thing about JJ Walker was that was a mitigation to the closing of Sarah Valley. And so when Sarah Valley was said, don't, you can't play at Sarah Valley, the idea was you can go down to JJ Walker, you can go up to the one on 16.
The problem with that, though, is that Saravalli serves one set of schools, and JJ Walker serves both PS3 and 75 Morton, all the kids go there. So you have an equal number of kids going to those 2 playgrounds, and one they're able to use and one they're not is a little bit like problematic. So it would be nicer, that's why I was kind of shocked that they were completely shut out of Saravalli. I thought there'd be like 2 courts there and then maybe one at JJ Walker, but.
That was before you joined, we had these
Yes.
public hearings and there was great outcry. Look,
Yeah.
and people
Parents
still,
were very well
Right.
organized.
yeah,
I know, well, I signed the petition, having seen the aggressive things with the students, but as a parent at the other playground, out of solidarity, actually, a lot of the parents who signed it were parents that would go to JJ Walker, didn't realize that it was gonna be like, shut down this whole area in order to have the other playground have none, seems.
but again, I mean, we've been moving it around and and now they're at Passanante, so maybe the people at JJ Walker can be, it's not that far, it's actually really
That's
close.
really good.
Yeah, and maybe I could, we could stop by and tell them that Vesuvio,
Well,
The kids-
at Vesuvio, yeah.
want to come and they want to stay and.
And JJ too, would be
Yeah.
nice.
But at JJ, yeah,
That, I think JJ Walker's been designated, so I gotta look into that. It's not easy, so we are.
Designated as pickleball as a priority
Yes.
space.
what we haven't heard, we have very few people, adults, complaining about the loss of the handball coach.
There actually are quite a few, and they started a petition, just so you know, like,
Yeah.
it's now, because it's a relatively new thing. A lot of the people come this fall were kind of like, wait, what do you mean we can't go hit tennis balls and play handball? And there's been like a little bit of like building tension, but luckily everybody's tried to be nice. But it has been fairly clear that the children and the tennis players are not allowed. They've been booted off, but they've been nice about it.
I have driven by Sarah Valley or walked by and seen some people ignoring it and going and setting up their thing,
What time of day?
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's tricky though, because you sort of feel like, I remember at the time, the argument was, well, it's such a shame to not be allowed to play anything at all there when for so many hours there are no kids that
No,
even
this
want
was
to
like-
be
There's no
there.
one on there.
Would be weekends.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Oh.
move to DeSalvio, so so DeSalvio, maybe you can give the context and the history of DeSalvio Playground.
So DeSalvio, since 2019, when it opened, the wall was designed before the building was, right? And so the wall went in, and then the building went in, and immediately there was a conflict because the children could climb up and get into the window sills and could get into the balcony, and it was dangerous. So the wall was closed off. And because there isn't a way to solve this without like major amounts of money and major amounts of changes and redesign without, being able to put something on the building because it's not ours. There's no way to use a pickleball, and I mean, no way to use the climbing wall, excuse my
Yeah.
French.
Pickleball
I'm
is
trying
taking
to
over
keep in
everything.
one topic. So the wall is going to be removed, just to offer more space for kids or maybe offer a place for us to put a bench, or maybe offer, we're looking into it, and we have to take it down. It takes us a slow amount of time of us pulling it apart, seeing how it's made so that we do it without leaving it has condition. So it's going slow, but we're gonna be removing it and improving the space the way it looks like right now. It's just ugly, so.
Can I ask the question? I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But if the problem is the boundary at the top of the wall, was there no way to like create an overhang that creates like so that the kids can climb up and then you kind of hit a
That's
ceiling?
exactly what we looked into, and the only way to do that was to construct stanchions in a certain way within the play area, the way it's configured. There's drains underground. There's a lot of things that you have to consider when you're trying to put something up, and
So you can't just put like a piece of sheet metal at the top of it and
that's what we looked into doing, and it's
and
not really.
that's complicated? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
You have to put
That's a
stanchions in the
shame.
ground. You have to have it at a certain height. It's just.
Plus,
Such
as a kid who's a
shame.
climber, I can vouch that that's an awesome way to fall and break an ankle.
Got it.
How you go around there, right?
So how expensive was that wall to build? What a shame.
I don't know.
Got it.
And your other ideas, Susan, about spikes and that was a good idea.
Barbed wire on the top,
Barbed wire, yeah.
broken glass.
Did you, any question, this is the Lenny Kravitz, building, remember?
Mhm.
He was the design, they were the design, his design shop was the design group or something. Yeah, and we had a lot of problems with this building where they weren't, we couldn't open that side of the park for a while. Because the building never got done.
Yeah.
And then I think we threatened, I think Park's starting to find them or,
It's a long legal.
yeah. And now I feel like they're winning in this way. By, they're getting this thing taken down. Winning's not the right word, but I think I don't know.
Prevailing.
There seems-
Forcing parks to adapt.
Yeah. In space that they don't own, so. They decided to build the building in that way and put the window in that place and still in that place and. Well, that's my, just opinion. Any questions from anyone? Did you wanna weigh in? No? Daniel, you're a climber, Dan. No, you're okay, all right.
Roy Ruiz would like to know if he can attend in person. Maybe we could.
Yeah, where's,
Yeah.
yeah, come on in.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need.
You need to sign up
Yeah.
to join whatever, yes.
Pete has his hand up, Rich.
Oh, yeah, okay, where's Pete? I can see this, ask to unmute, or,
Is there, off to the right, is there another option?
there he is.
Hiya, I'm not sure where that background came from, but anyway,
You're floating like, what is that, a racer? Yeah.
Racer X.
into the chat, some info for the climbing wall at DeSalvio Playground. This idea was presented to the community by our council member at the time in 2013. The design was finalized in 2015. $1.9 million was funded for it in fiscal year 2017. That's all before the condo.
Yeah.
Along comes the condo. And now we have to lose a public amenity that we paid for, that was designed, that was approved, because some guy doesn't want kids looking in his window. I don't know why. I know Teresa said that there was money, penalty, whatever, who's suing who, I don't know. But how come they win on this? This is just wrong on so many levels. And it seems to me that the condo should pay to relocate the wall. Now, I guess, that would take lawyers too, but just on an ethical level, that the condo, the rock star who makes a lot of presence for his involvement in this building could certainly afford that for the community. I'm flummoxed by this whole situation. So, we worked really hard this last summer to get the other wall fixed because there was damage over there and they closed off part of DeSalvio where the kids couldn't use the water feature. And we got that fixed thanks to our current council member. Anyway, those are just my thoughts. I appreciate anything anybody can offer. And hi, Teresa, the paint job at Passanante is brilliant. And for Mets fans, it's a big plus.
That's like the basketball courts. They look like Knicks fans. I think Knicks paid for that. Huh? The orange and the blue, I think they did. Well, yeah, Pete, I agree with you. I mean, I use the term "they win and the kids lose." I didn't know I don't remember the proposed design, funded, installed history, but I understand. I believe you're saying it's hard to put in a ceiling on it or some sort, but being relocated is something we can write it as a resolution and say
Well, and that's just that we're actually looking into how it can be removed, and relocating it isn't an option. It's
It
not
has to be.
constructed in a way that it can be removed in one piece or in many pieces. It
Yeah.
has to be actually deconstructed.
Pete, was it a well-used feature? I don't know if Pete's still on. Does anyone know?
Well, let's presume that it was.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
that's a factor. I mean,
Right.
no one ever used it, and it was just,
Well, immediately they used it and were climbing up to
Oh, yeah,
the
okay.
windowsills,
Yeah, you're right.
standing up on the
Yeah.
windowsills, and it was
Yeah.
dangerous at that height. It's not really designed to be.
Yeah.
Use it.
It's not designed to put kids up at that height.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily for looking into somebody's window. It's just that they shouldn't be up in a balcony and they shouldn't be up. No.
Well,
so
It's perfect access.
maybe a donation, if not, to the Parks Department.
what was the decision then to demolish it the result of the legal action? Or was it result of just that as it happens, the window is there and it produces a dangerous situation?
So we're having to maintain the wall that blocks it off, which is rapidly falling apart. And that those walls are, pieces of wood coming off. It's not really, it's bowing and bending. It's just a piece of plywood.
The climbing wall is.
Yes, the cover for it. So it's something that, can't be the way it is, and we can't maintain a temporary cover on this climbing wall that's not going to be used because it's not safe.
So it's a failed experiment even without the issue of the windows? Meaning like is the issue the windows, or is it also the issue that it's difficult to maintain and it's not?
But it's not the wall itself that's difficult to maintain.
Oh.
In the way it is, we're maintaining something to cover it so that nobody
Oh,
uses
at the
it
moment,
because
I
it's
see.
unsafe.
I'm sorry.
So,
Yeah.
So the wall itself.
And there's no way
unsafe.
that it can be made.
No, the wall would be. Yeah.
Or was the wall
cover,
safe
that's
until
it.
the windows were there?
as it was designed, yes.
Yes.
Because
So
it was
it's
going
the-
against a wall, but you weren't getting up onto like these parts of the building that can be climbable. And
No, so
Now
that
it accesses
particular function will be gone completely.
Right, whole amenity. What a shame. You really would like to put barbed wire there, anything that would, you know.
Yeah.
No, barbed wire isn't safe for kids.
No.
No, I know. Just saying, but like something to keep those kids. It's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
Well, let's come to the business session, we can do it at the end. Last
Right.
topic was the review, this was, so again, let me give context on the third topic, which was, it actually came through, State Senator Hoylman, who called me one day and said, I'm here, with somebody who, was asking about dog parks, and I said, well, we can have a meeting, a bunch of people ask about dog parks, and this gentleman, was unable to join, he's on his honeymoon, I think, he just got married, he said, well, why can't we put it in, he doesn't really know the game, he just said, why can't we put it in the, space next to, Bleecker Playground? You know, the seating area there, Bleecker seating. area.
Abington Square Park.
Mhm.
No.
Bleecker
no,
Playground.
no.
Oh, behind it, right,
Behind
right.
it.
right
Yeah,
behind
the
it,
level,
got it,
it's been
got it.
redone.
Yes.
And I said, it doesn't really work that way, et cetera. So anyway, he said, well, are there more places? And I said, look, it comes up all the time. Maybe we can just all get on the same page in terms of, the rules and the policies and what's available and does everybody know all the spots? So I asked if you would cover, you said from the beginning, I'm no expert on this topic.
I've been through a lot of problems with dog runs and a lot of good ones too. And
Okay.
there's a lot of consideration that goes into citing a dog run. And it's a really reasonable amount of information that comes together in one dog run policy that I brought to you today. So it really lays out what the conditions are that would allow us to cite a dog run and what kind of things are needed in order to maintain a dog run and who needs to maintain it and how. And it's really a great document that was finished last year. So I brought it to you, and we've had dog runs that were kind of temporary up in CB3 up near Penn South that I was actually there with, and that, the noise issues that come up are the biggest, I think, for our close neighborhoods that have, a lot of residential. And so looking at that, I think that's the biggest factor with a lot of our parks. So our existing parks right now, all of them are near a building which has residential, which people would, be impacted by that barking. And so, it's not easy to find a place. And so I think there is a new dog run out in Hudson River Park.
Yes,
Mhm.
there's gonna be one on Gansevoort.
Oh, there is?
By the
Yeah,
beach.
the
Yeah.
dog run,
No, the other side,
other
Oh,
side.
on
the
the
other
north
side.
side.
But isn't there also one at the beach?
No, you can't.
No, you
go.
can't have a dog on the beach, because they
I thought there was-
do
oh, I
bad
guess I'm
things in the
thinking about
sand.
There are
No,
no, yeah.
I thought it was on that same pier, but on a different
No.
part.
No.
I believe that it hasn't been constructed yet, right, Daniel? I mean, I remember
I
last
think
time.
that dogs are allowed on the north side of
On the
Gansevoort.
north side,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. They're just not allowed on the beach.
Exactly.
And right, that's
So
what I
beach
mean,
is
but
the
I mean
south side.
on
Nope,
that pier.
not on
So
the
Yeah,
grass.
yeah.
No, they're not allowed
The
beyond
dog
this
run
one.
is a part of Hudson River Park, or is
Yes.
it?
It's 13th Street.
Yeah,
It's part of here.
Gansevoort Peninsula is part of Hudson River Park, and it has been designed with fields, with a beach on the southern end of it, and with a dog run. I don't know if it's fully constructed on the northern
Oh,
flank.
that's great.
Yeah,
Well, we discussed this
a long,
last
narrow
meeting and
one.
not everyone loved it. First of all, dogs are not allowed on the grass next to the beach.
Right.
yeah.
And there was a big fight, well, they should be on the grass and nature clears up their mess and whatever. The other one, that was, and it's not a parks one, but there was a new dog run next to the Paulson Center on Houston
Oh, right.
and behind Mercer. It's run by an NYU organization, but it's a big space for dogs.
So it's not parks.
No, it's just close, but there were, I know you were looking around, there's really no, I mean, there's this discussion, there was some people wanted to see them at the water tunnel sites, but DEP wouldn't allow it because they don't want dogs,
Above our water.
yeah, dumping in their water, so,
There's
So-
another
So how does
dog run
that-
in Hudson River Park on Leroy Street.
yeah, of course, yeah, that's a big.
And the only one
There's
I
another
know
one further
was-
down at 26.
Is the NYU one open to everybody?
I think you have to sign up. I don't think there's a fee. I
I
said.
mean, it's a nice
Is there-
space,
There is a
I think,
fee?
from what I've seen.
Let me see, it says that I took a picture of the sign. But it's, there's
Well, we're
another.
being told
yeah.
there's a-
Yeah, I thought it was,
It's a nominal
there is a
fee that
fee,
is organized
yeah.
and you receive a key.
okay,
Okay. And there are 2 dog runs in Washington Square Park, right?
big
Yeah.
enough, yeah.
And are there any other dog runs are there Parks Department dog runs anywhere else other than Washington Square Park?
Union Square Park.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
you just
that is within walking
Yeah.
distance. If you wanna know what's in within walking distance.
What
then-
about the one at 14th Street or 23rd Street or wherever we were looking at the triangle that,
On the far west, yes.
Yeah.
There is. a
Chelsea
dog-
Piers?
Yeah, across from Chelsea Piers, it's
So
Chelsea.
Waterside,
Waterside Park?
Waterside,
Yeah.
that's a brand new one.
right,
Um,
and that's Parks also?
That's 23rd Street.
Yeah,
That's not
Park.
Parks, but it's Hudson River
Hudson,
Park.
that's Hudson River Park, okay.
Oh,
Even though it's not, it's on the other side.
And then, there's one we found, I discussed this last time, there's one on Broome Street. That, they may be private as well, or it has some group around it, I took a picture of it, it's, just east of, just west of, West Broadway. Which is, I forget the
so
name.
there's a difference between a dog run and a dog park,
Yeah.
right?
Well, there's
People are
becoming
always
differences.
saying
I
that
think,
they
I
would
think,
rather have the dog
I think
park
that there's a
than
lot
the
of
dog
different
run.
designs that we're seeing. I mean, there's some in Stuyvesant Town, there's like 7 little areas I think they have, and they're different. Like, some of them are enclosed, some of them are not. But they're considered dog use areas, and so I think it's evolving to accommodate dogs in different ways, in different spaces, so. But this policy kind of covers everything that people deal with at a dog run that you need to actually address and consider. So it's a really great document, and I brought it for you, so you can see,
Yeah,
like, the amount of consideration that goes into it.
Where is it?
That's helpful.
she
Yeah, so
emailed it
you
to
brought
me
it
just.
to-
for-
Oh, I
yeah,
see.
I'll.
You'll share
Oh, okay.
it. Maybe we
Yeah.
can post that on our, CB2's website for those.
Yeah.
are-
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
we
That would be a
can
good
do that,
idea.
or, I don't know, Daniel, if I send it to you, can you share?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it now. I wanna make sure you have the ability to share. I just don't wanna play with anything else. There it goes. Were there anything else on dog runs? There was this discussion that people had asked about having dogs off leash, in Washington Square Park, and we said that that was not, a good idea because, for a variety of reasons, but
That would scare the pants off of me.
reasons for that?
Yeah.
that they could run into people and bite people, they could run into traffic. It's not open like Central Park, there's no giant field. Again, the concept of dogs going to the bathroom in places,
It's probably for their safety as
Yeah.
well, for the dog's
That was it,
safety. I would
sure.
imagine
Health
there's
of
such a
the
variety
kids.
of people out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
but,
and other dogs,
Yeah.
it's sometimes you don't realize.
Collision possibilities.
yeah,
My concern is also the same I have it when I see a dog on a subway. There's a lot of nice dogs. But there are some that are not nice, and you can't really discriminate. Either everyone's allowed or not everyone's allowed,
and that's the point,
that
not
would worry
everyone
me.
loves dogs. There are some people who felt,
It's
and
scary.
I like them, but there are some people who are intimidated by them.
Well, obviously, there must be something wrong with them if they don't like dogs.
Well, also my dog's afraid of other dogs. So it's,
Yeah.
it
There
escalates
you
naturally,
go.
so yeah, it's not
And
great.
there's a lot of things with neutered, non-neutered, you have so many
It
issues,
just
they're
continues to escalate,
vaccinated,
right.
making sure people have their obedience training, it's a lot
Right.
of, stuff you have to.
Daniel, that,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got it. I've got to sign out of my other Adobe account so I can.
All right,
This,
sorry.
that's a good.
There are a number of other.
Here, I will, I'll share this,
okay,
Sorry.
not
Just
in
saying.
Adobe, but you'll get the idea. Let's see if you can see that.
yeah, okay, yeah,
We had a question.
We have a question real quick.
yeah, go ahead.
There are a number of other dogs in the city a 23 and alone that have off-leash hours.
Yes.
There are 2 parks in Manhattan that have it, Central Park and Waco.
Inwood, yes,
Yes.
above 200
So
acres.
when, everybody's talking about the different issues that you're talking about, why do those issues not apply to these other parks that have off-leash hours?
So it's the amount.
Are you
of
able to
open
hear
space.
that? Everyone able to hear that question?
Not very well.
The question
Yeah.
was,
Go ahead.
there are 2 parks in Manhattan that have off-leash hours. What's the criteria that distinguishes those parks from, for example, Washington Square Park?
So the difference between large parks and smaller parks is acreage, right? And the amount of space that is available with usage and the way that they're organized and designed, and how close they are to buildings and traffic. And both of those parks have areas which are have more of an interior.
Well, let
And
me
they're-
explain again, based on the city council side, that there are 17 parks in the Bronx that have off-leash hours, 23 in Brooklyn, 18 in Queens, 13 in Staten Island. Are you telling me that all of those parks are bigger than Washington Square Park?
I have to get the list and look, but I can tell you if they are. I just don't have it in front of me.
But I'm gonna guess that there are some that are not as large as Washington.
Well, they might not have as much usage either. It just depends on the way a park is organized.
And I understand that, but the off-leash hours up until 9 AM is specifically at times when there isn't a lot of usage.
In larger parks, they have like a different layout. So it just depends on the park. It really depends on the neighborhood. It depends on what's going on there. And I think that there's a designated area for dogs. And that's what makes it possible to have the dogs off leash in the park. And so when there's the existence of the designated area, the 9 AM rule doesn't necessarily apply. So you have to think about whether there's an amenity there already. Is it accommodating that enough? Is it possible with all of these considerations, which the dog board policy actually thinks about?
Well, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look. The factors
And for
section.
those of you who couldn't hear the conversation, it's, our guest is questioning whether all the very many parks in Brooklyn and the Bronx and Queens all are so large and that, or if there is a
What's the
discrepancy.
distinction between
Yeah.
having 13 or 17 or 20 off-leash
23 in Brooklyn.
parks?
23 in Brooklyn.
Just in Brooklyn. Brooklyn does have much larger park spaces, like if even just like Fort Greene, the difference between
Well,
Fort
yeah.
Greene Park versus Washington Square Park is huge.
Let's look
Well, I
through the
think
other
that-
factors
They're
that
less
are discussed
dense.
here, right?
There's a big area in general.
There's some park does not
So
have
there are
all-leash
more-
hours. They do, but what I'm saying is that I'm
Okay.
thinking about, that's a relatively smaller park in Brooklyn. And I think that a lot of, Brooklyn has larger parks.
Can you
Yeah.
scroll up,
Manhattan.
Daniel? Can you take a look? Can we get into the criteria?
That's-
And the Bronx, there's giant.
So there's
parks.
2 discussions. One is
Right.
citing a dog run and the
Right.
other is off-leash hours.
Right,
And I think that a valid question that you're asking is it possible to just look and see if the criteria that dictate where an off-leash hour can happen do or do not apply to Washington Square Park? I think that's a valid question.
Can I
I've-
We've
also
already
bring up
covered
one
that.
other issue regarding off-leash hours? There is
Yes.
a park in downtown in the Bowery
Mhm.
where they have, it's a city park, that they have somehow reached an accommodation with the dog owners to have off-leash hours.
In a designated area.
In a designated
Right,
area, that's
yeah.
right. And somehow they've come to some sort of courtesy agreement to
Yes.
have off-leash hours.
Yes.
So is that possible in our area in CB2 specifically?
Who was that agreement with? Do you know?
The Battery
There is
Conservancy
a-
has an area that's actually designated, and it's almost like it's a large space that's, fenced in fully.
Yeah.
That, can accommodate it.
Mhm.
And
I want to bring up a space that we were discussing in the budget priorities that we kind of had overlooked. And I'm not saying it should be a dog run, we don't know what it should be. Rich, that's that Playground of the Americas
Yeah, but,
over on Halston and Sixth,
right,
and there it sits,
yeah,
totally underutilized,
Yeah.
almost totally unused.
look at the criteria.
Potential, yeah,
But again, this is very close to residential windows.
it is.
Sure, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, there are windows.
Because, you know, when you see it from the street, it looks like it's unto itself, but
I'd love to look at this, later at our leisure, maybe you'll share that with us.
No,
by
we
email.
can do that, yeah.
Yeah, this perfectly describes the current dog runs, but also doesn't actually apply to the open, the off-leash stuff, so.
No, we.
Yeah,
we
no,
got
this
into-
document doesn't seem to be about.
It could be page 3, I don't know.
We got into a different conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's Playground of the Americas. It's,
oh, it is right
Yeah,
next
it's
to
what it
it,
is.
you know?
Well, the nursery school uses
Yeah.
it a couple days a
So in other
week,
words,
and
it's
it's got little
residential,
kids
but
stuff.
otherwise
Yeah.
it's empty.
Very
Yeah.
The three sides.
Right on.
Which one is
it
this?
clear.
It's on the
And
south
over
side of
there-
Houston.
Downing Street Playground?
No.
No, it's
South
Capsulo
side of
Prayers.
I know what you're talking about, yes,
Is
yes,
it like
yes.
the Capsulo Prayers Playground? No, there was something.
No, it's very, it's a
Playground
very
of the
small little.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
compact playground.
corner spot, yeah. So that one I think would, again, we should look at these criteria and
Yeah,
consider.
and
so-
it's abutting residential windows.
Yeah, that's what I'm showing.
Yeah,
And is there not
Mhm.
also a park right by the exit to the Holland Tunnel?
Yes,
That's in between like Friedland Place or something
Yeah.
like
Freeman
that?
Plaza.
Freeman Plaza, yeah.
I just wonder how active that is by humans, because it seems an icky place for a park, and whether
No,
that would be a good place for a dog run. Certainly not near residential windows.
yeah, it's,
Which
those,
does it fit the other criteria?
There's plenty of
There's
room.
plenty.
yeah, it's
Just
Freeman
might
Freeman
asphyxiate
Plaza,
the
yeah.
dog.
Yeah, it's, there's a, you know, they do some programming there, they do some things there.
Yeah, the
Freeman Plaza,
Hudson
no.
Square bid, right?
I don't know if the bid plays, does that,
Yeah.
you may be right, yeah.
I use that one, the bid has also that park up by Spring Street.
Street. And they also closed down Little Sixth Avenue for times during lunchtime hours and jazz. I wonder, and I guess it doesn't really make sense for a temporary dog one because it's not year round, it's seasonal.
Yeah, Freeman Plaza East, it's called, yeah.
That too,
Um,
that's a different.
And Little West is the one on the other side of what's now.
The park,
called
the Spring Street Park thing.
Spring Street Park, not Soho Square, right?
Yeah.
So, look, there's some open questions on that, but I'll share this around and we can all take a look at this and then consider spaces that, you know, that they were aware of that might, you know, that might fit this criteria. This is separate from off-leash hours.
So I'm still gonna take back the comments on off-leash hours and get a response from the agency, because I think that's.
Yeah, we should get a
reasonable.
response, but
Yeah.
even if they said, yeah, I think, you know, we haven't given a real, if there's a proposal, we should look at, you know, people who would perhaps say, you know, would come out and speak against it. And we should talk to the, but let's see what they say.
Yeah, let's see what the criteria are, just so that we understand that it's a conscious decision and not something that's been overlooked in response to your interest. I think that you should contact information so you can follow up.
We've been
Okay.
talking to,
Oh, okay.
I spoke at the March general meeting.
Yeah.
of CB2.
Yes,
We've had different owners speak in subsequent.
Yes.
I'm sorry that I missed the last meeting in which you spoke about off-leash hours or dog runs. This is definitely a concern because we've had a number of the owners, get aggressively ticketed in Washington Square Park. And the truth of the matter is that since the pandemic, and I think you guys are all aware that this is a city issue, that there have been more dog ownership
Yeah.
since the pandemic. And the dog runs are great, but they just don't accommodate the number of people and dogs in the early mornings before work hours.
Maybe we could take a few pickleball courts.
I mean, I'm amazed at the ability of the pickleball people to get action in a way that we have not, so.
Well, yeah, there's an organization and they, we had issues and they were blocking out other like so Valley, and so we got Parks Department involved. That's. our
But
job.
in fairness,
That's what we're doing again
yeah, no,
now.
I mean, also in fairness, pickleball and it is not incompatible
Right.
with other uses. I mean,
No.
it fights for the terrain, but it's not,
No,
you
we
can
had-
have two things side by side,
we
which
had-
is different from.
We had a lot of, I got received videos of kids getting run over, by pickleball players, and so
Yeah.
there were discussions on both sides, but our job is to bring it to the elected officials and the Parks Department, and that's what we did at Sarah.
Yes, our group is, not that we have an organized group, but we've spoken to all of the council people in the area. We've talked to the Conservancy. I had to sit down with William, the administrator of the park, for an hour and a half. And, all of our issues have been heard and acknowledged, and yet we still get arrested with ticket.
Well,
Okay,
sorry.
well, the answer, so what did William say?
He acknowledged all of the points that we made, I guess.
Okay.
That didn't, and he basically said that he's not in charge of enforcement, and that there's nothing he could do about that.
Well, you're caught in a broader question, which is the enforcement of rules in the park.
Yes.
And, Williams had to, we requested that like skateboarding and drug dealing and things like that would be addressed. There's still a lot of tables set up.
Yes.
I think though, when it comes to off-leash hours, I mean, it's until off-leash hours are approved in Washington Square Park. If you're using your dog off-leash, you are going against you are violating so that, I mean, as an outsider, I'm not in the park, but that would seem like ticketing would be appropriate. I mean, but.
Yeah, I think let's go to, let's see what we can come back with in terms of, but I'll send this around.
Yeah,
See
well,
what-
that way the answers that Will gave you can be heard by everybody,
Yeah,
and so we all understand, what the issues are.
right,
Because it has designated space, that usually says that, we've accommodated the dogs in the park, and that's usually where it is with very heavily used parks, especially like Washington Square, so.
Obviously, we spend a lot of time in the park, so the dog owners are very invested in the health and well-being of the park itself. We don't want anything bad to happen at all. That said, early mornings, we're talking about 7 to 9, basically, when people who are getting ready to go to work are walking their dogs. It gets very crowded in that dog run. You have incidents when it gets too crowded. Have been emergencies in that run, not because the dogs are bad or the people are bad, because you've got people and dogs on top of each other.
Yeah.
And we have had some people who have the dogs off leash in a certain area of the park, just in very specific limited hours, and we've all gotten along and we're on the honor system, and it didn't seem to be a problem. And then all of a sudden the rangers show up early in the morning and start to kick. It just seemed to be overly aggressive to us, and so we started coming to the CB meetings, and we talked to our council people, we talked to everybody that we could. So here I am and talking to you. So
okay,
we don't know what can be done. We see that somehow in other places there are accommodations that are made. People just want to be happy. The dogs are really joyful in the morning, so we don't see how it's bothering anybody. But
I think a lot of good dog owners should, have a place to go, but they often don't. And there's dog owners that make it rough for everybody. I have playgrounds that are being used like dog runs, that I wish I had the same enforcement right there to deal with. And I have a lot of other places that, we wish we could have the enforcement on the way that dogs are leaving waste everywhere. And that's the difficulty with trying to make a rule for those who are reasonable and those who are reasonable. And it's really tough when you have so many dog owners who break rules and do things that are unreasonable. So I
I
wish,
understand about the waste problem, but that's something that can happen on leash or off leash.
I
And
agree,
that's the owner problem, that's not a leash problem.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's harder when the dogs run away to see that they've gone or, well, will you follow up on it?
Yeah, I will.
We have a-
I do
we
have
have
a
a broader
question, just,
question,
can you, as you're investigating what the criteria are around the city, can you see if there are places that allow off leash just from 7 to 9? And whether that would be something that would be feasible in this space?
But a cordoned off space.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are there areas in Washington Square Park that have some sort of fencing that are the ones that you were saying that people go to a certain
It's
few
called the dog
areas?
run. Yeah.
Right, no, but I know, but there are sometimes there are areas where you'll have like fencing that goes up.
Usually that's to protect the grass, like please stay
Right.
off the grass while it
Right,
grows
Yeah,
back.
and even in Battery Park, there's certain parts of the year where it's not allowed, it's just, they have to renovate the lawns, they have to do aerating, they don't allow the dogs off leash so that they can keep everything and maintain it. So it's not year round, it's something that, you know.
Probably
Okay.
away from the
You know, in
playground.
terms of Washington Square Park, it's really different from a lot of other parks. Because it is a neighborhood park, but it's really also an all people's
Yeah.
park. It's so heavily used
Yeah.
that it's really difficult to
Yeah.
start picking out another use too.
Well, let me-
But I guess the question is like, is
That
there
hours.
7 to 9?
Is
You
there
know,
an
does that,
accommodation that could be
Oh,
made?
And
maybe
I'm
seven
not
to
very
nine.
early.
No one in the park. from
I've been there
7 to
early
9.
with my kids and seen that there really is nobody at
Yeah,
those
so
early
that might
hours.
be
Yeah.
the
all right, but it has
It
to
is-
fit in with city.
Right, but then
criteria.
there's like.
It has to work, it
It's
has to
also
be
the time when
legal.
they do the
There
cleanup.
are rules, but.
When William brings in the group to clean
The
up.
Zamboni?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Well, we do a lot of inspection when we do those morning cleanups, and there's stuff that you don't want to find before we clean it up,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
there's-
if you're talking about waste, it's not always dogs.
No,
I'm talking about hazardous waste that you don't want the dog
Yeah, there's
or
drug-
kids
there's
or
drug
anybody
waste.
to touch.
Absolutely.
And that's our time of day to like
Yes,
try and attack it, so.
I agree.
It's really tough in that park, and I applaud Will every day, and I'm grateful he exists. Because it was a tough part to deal with
Yeah.
during the week, and
It still is.
I
He
felt
was attacked.
overwhelmed when I was there, and it's really, really tough.
I remember he was attacked and his elbow was broken by somebody who didn't like him enforcing the rule.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me move to business
Session.
session, business session. Just to go back to one time, do we want to, does somebody want to write a resolution about the climbing wall? And if you were, what would you put in it? Which would, I mean, it would be a resolution from us, just simply, you know, I guess that would say, we understand why it's being done, it still sucks. You know, the building owner seems to be getting his way, override, he came later, he or she,
Yeah.
the group came later, and, you know, I mean, whether it can be, it can't move to a recreated, you know, we request some, I don't know, is there any value in that, requesting a donation or requesting maintenance, something that would be earmarked towards maintenance, or?
Yeah, or that they pay for the removal, because it sounds like the removal is gonna be expensive and complicated.
I don't think there's an incremental cost to using internal resource.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're hiring an external group.
It is a shame.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
It's a political position, I think it's fine to express it.
Sure.
Anybody feel bad that we shouldn't?
Don't know who will read it.
Okay,
And this
Yeah.
is why I wanted to bring it
Yeah,
up,
no, you're right.
I don't wanna just
No,
say, we need to
go
do something and
the
do it, and
real
then
estate
have,
folks?
you know, have it be after.
who should we send it to?
Just to the
Department of
commissioner.
Buildings.
Oh,
and
yeah,
us.
Commissioner, yeah, you took, okay.
Who's Lenny
Commissioner.
Kravitz
Like, how are
signed
they
to
allowed
send
to,
it
how
to
did the Department of Buildings allow them to build right there? I don't even
Well,
understand
that,
that,
you can go to Department of Buildings.
or whatever.
No, done deal there.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I know. Where's that gonna go? But
All right, well, all right, I'll send something around, or somebody, we can send something around. It's just a few whereas comments and thereby be it resolved. Yeah. And thanks to Pete for making the for giving us the background on the when it was proposed by a council member, how it was designed, it was funded and installed. So are there any other comments? I don't want to, my phone is dying, must go. Oh, Sharon, okay, yeah, any other comments or in there that I'm ignoring? What was that? Can't see anything. Okay. All right, well, that was it. It wasn't a long meeting. We appreciate you coming and giving up your time with your family. I hope things, Halloween was good. It was good.
And we were at Fog Fagan and I put up fences, and so I was there till 6 putting up fences to try and save the
Oh,
gardens.
yeah.
Because they were mobilizing there this year, and so it worked, so.
Yeah. Other figures, the leaves are beautiful.
Yeah, and the Horse Society just did all the tree pits in front, and it looks gorgeous, so.
Yeah,
If I may, I wanted to mention something about Jefferson Market Garden.
Oh,
I know
yes.
that's not on our agenda, but I walked by and saw a sign that seemed new to me. It says, open to the public Tuesday to Sunday, 10 to 6 p.m. As opposed to, I've never seen that.
yeah, it's.
I've never-
And they also ask for
7 days a
donations
week.
there too.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do
sure.
ask for donations. This is part of, I mean, I
This
have
is
my
a
issues
running-
with Jefferson.
Yeah,
Market.
Frederica and Susanna are the most
We're on the,
outspoken. And the gentleman who ran it for so long just passed away.
oh, that's a shame.
So what are the parameters there? It is Parks Department territory, right?
It's not staffed.
This is staff, this is a very neat situation.
Yeah, sort of half-half.
Yeah, we should, well, for a long time, we brought them, do you remember we brought them once and everyone started screaming at them and they vowed never to come again?
I was not screaming.
Mainly Susanna was screaming at them.
No, I think they do a
felt-
great
felt-
job.
No, they felt attacked or they felt unappreciated and they vowed never to come back again.
Well, okay, I would say a few things to that.
Yes,
I think that because this is a group that manages a large space, that is public space,
yeah,
I think it's fair to ask them to come and share with us their
Yeah.
policies, their procedures, their programming, as we do with every park. They do a beautiful job. I personally haven't, I know that over the years, people have had concerns over the role of conservancies and whether conservancies allow too much private control over public space. I personally feel that as good a job as JMG is doing, it is a large public space and control of large public space in private hands. And I think that if nothing else, their website could be updated to reflect better practices.
so we invite them to our December meeting.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
You want me to do?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I'll
I think
invite
my email goes right to their spam folder.
yeah.
I think it's like automatically deleted.
Block.
Yeah, block.
I mean-
But it's because I keep including viruses.
Yeah,
so
well, I
it's
should do
my
that.
own
I should
fault.
start doing
Yeah,
that. But no, they,
Yeah, and
they were
Daily
really
Mail.
adamant. No, they were really, no, I used, they were really upset with us. And it wasn't my fault. I think it was other people, but
It was many years ago,
I agree.
and I think every single conservancy that we ever asked to come
Yeah.
into our meetings agrees to do.
No,
so.
it's good. I mean, we've had Jackson Square come and they're great. We've had, we've had Jane Street weren't so good, happy
Jane
all the
Street
time.
Garden?
That
Yeah.
wasn't too happy.
That wasn't, they weren't too happy about us questioning their ownership and control.
Yeah, that,
of
I think that situation has improved, and by the way, that might be something that we put on a subsequent agenda.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
the woman there?
Kate
really helped.
Bostic
Kate,
Shepperman.
yeah, Kate really helped, yeah, she did, she really, got some stuff, and Ralph helped and Steve helped, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I think there's a changing of the guard at Jefferson Market. Frederica gets really upset, you know.
She gets more upset,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
she thinks that the whole thing should be programmed.
Yeah,
Which I don't think, but.
Yeah, but it wasn't her that got them angry, I think it was you. No, it wasn't, it was, I
Susan
forget.
Cyphos is still the horticulturist, right?
Oh, yes, they
Yes,
pay her
yeah.
themselves, that was the thing too. And Steve's like, Steve, I remember Steve saying to me, maybe offline, like, don't screw with those guys, they're really good, leave them alone.
I know, but
Let them play. She's good.
some of us feel like it should be on an online as a park. I mean, they
Yeah.
could still have a
Yeah.
conservancy,
Well-
but at least the city would pick up the
Well,
trash.
If you could,
Provide.
if you reach out to them, they'd be more responsive to you, I think.
I have one other question not on our
Okay,
agenda, sorry.
yes.
rats. Okay, so
They're much better. I have an
Well,
email I've been meaning to send you,
I
yes.
I saw this piece in the Post about Julie
Oh, well, if
Menon.
it's in the post.
And, well, because someone told me about it, that she's managed, that they are managing to eliminate a bunch of rats on the street, but whatever. Years ago, Ralph came and told us about this phenomenal method of using rat ice in the park, and it
Yeah.
got rid of all these burrows. I just
Yes.
wondered, where does that stand? Do we still do that?
So now there's this really new and improved method that Ralph brought to us that is called the Burrow RX. And
Oh, that's
instead of
carbon
Carbon
monoxide.
dioxide, it's carbon monoxide through a
Monoxide.
machine which has this oil that pumps it into the holes and
Asphyxiates.
yeah, while they were sleeping during the
Some people
day.
think it's mean.
So we, we happen to have, staff that can use it, and we have been using it to much success in certain areas where we can get the trash to be dealt with well.
Right.
And so that's just the two factors, you gotta be able to take the food away. And, because the moment you kill some rats, others move in,
Yeah,
so you have to
and they
stay on top of it.
reproduce rather quickly.
So it's
Yeah,
it's
really
just
incredible.
keeping eyes on it, having 311s helps. You know, because we actually look at those and we put work orders in based on where people are seeing rats. You know, we're inspecting as often as we can, so we do disruption. If we see trash problems, we try to address that, so.
Well, rat ice had a difficulty with delivery.
Yeah, it was being
Yes,
stored.
still has a difficulty.
And so does this Burrow X or whatever all have the same problem?
No,
Does not, so it's easier to get, it's easier, that's one of the problems with rat ice. Ralph said you have to take a truck and spend the whole day going to get it and then come back and then it
specific
evaporates.
truck with a specific license to carry it and transport it, and, yeah.
So this sidesteps all those problems, this is that's great. And how often do you
For
guys
rats.
use it to help rats?
So we use it as often as we're finding them in inspections,
Oh,
so,
okay, good.
if you see that we've got a problem somewhere and it's not being addressed, just please call, put a 311 in. We actually directly get the 311s daily, so we can immediately go and inspect and put in a work order. So it's-
Keyword rat, we put it in the subject or,
Yeah,
it
I
was,
want my backyard to become a park so that you guys will come in and get rid of the rats. I filed a rat violation.
There was a guy in the subway with
yeah,
the
I saw
pizza
it, she
sign.
sent it to me, yeah.
I thought that was
It was
great.
A plus, A plus.
I filed a rat notice on 311 for
Yeah.
my backyard, and I
Yeah.
was given a notice of violation because I had rats on my property.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
I was given a warning.
backfired.
We'll take that out of the notes. All right, well, thanks, everyone. Keep an eye out on the notes. Thank you
Thanks
for
for having
coming.
me.
Yeah, thanks for telling us.
Suzanne.
And sorry to bring up pickleball again, I know this has got to be.
It's something that's evolving, and I think it's gonna be with us for a while, so including a lot of the dog issues.
I've been going to the Belgian.
I'm not one of those like.
Okay.
Hard, like, no pickleball.
Isn't
This is
that
more
what Lois
parks.
used to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm really
Well, did you see
interested.
the mayor proposed?
How's that going? Is it fun?
Suzanne, have you seen this? How much,
Need more park staff and more.
How much what?
the mayor's cutting 15% from the budget.
Yeah.
Massive.
He's gotta go, I'm sorry.
Well, wait, what's he cutting it from?
For many
Adams.
reasons.
No, because
Look at your hat.
he's cutting from the budget because the budget, there's a deficit and.
Who?
So remember how last two months ago, we talked about the 1% of the budget?
Yes.
He said, no.
Yeah,
You have to cut it because he's got a real issue with.
every time we make something like that kind of a request, I think like, if I'm the city, I'm not, I got, it's zero sum.